Hey guys, in this video we're going to talk about division and the concept of doing and undoing. So, what do we got going on over here? When we do a lot of different parts of mathematics, we're going to look at this concept of doing and undoing, right? Whatever you do, you can undo it, and you can go kind of back and forth. And a lot of things pair off this way, which is pretty cool. So, let's think about this concept, right? You have 4 friends, you and 4 of your friends all have 3 cows each. You want to count the total cows that you all have. Well, this makes sense. We have 5 people and we can multiply by 3 cows per person. And so we get 5 times 3 equals 15 total cows. Multiplication, as you may or may not know, is basically just faster counting, right? So instead of, if we look and we say, instead of saying, okay, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, it's 15, sorry. It's 15 total cows and you got to count them all up. Instead, we can group them off and we can say, okay, well, here's a group of 3 and another group of 3. 3, 3, 3. 3 times 5 is 15 and we still get 15. It's the same number of cows, but we're just sort of breaking them into groups, right? And because they're in groups, we can multiply. This is where your multiplication tables come in so handy, right? You know that 2 times 8 is 16. You know that 3 times 5 is 15. You know that 5 times 6 is 30. And because you know those things, if you have 5 groups of 6 things, then you know that you have 30 things, because that's how multiplication works, right? So remember, at some point in time, mathematics of all types didn't exist. There was a time when these types of mathematics, the types of things that you're doing, did not exist. And so, when we invented this, we invented addition, we invented counting to sort of say, okay, well, let me just figure out how many cows I do have. Just let me count 1, 2, 3, 4, and you counted. And then we sort of said, okay, well, what if we could make a faster way of counting? And we did. And we called it multiplication, and that's what we do, right? And then we did the next step. Now, multiplication has an opposite. You do something, you can undo it, right? What is multiplication's opposite? It's division is the opposite of multiplication. With division, you want to figure out how many each person gets. So you're basically trying to break a big number into smaller groups. So, for example, if we kind of do this backwards, what if you have 15 total cows and you want to divide them evenly among yourself and 4 of your friends? Okay, 15 cows divided by 5 people, and we get 3 cows per person. How do we know that? We know that because we know our multiplication tables. We know that in order to get 15, we'd have to do like 3 times 5, right? And so these numbers directly correspond to these numbers up here. Right? Totally the same thing. 3 times 5 gets you 15. 15 divided by 5 gets you 3. And that makes sense because if we look back at our picture and we have this total group of cows over here, we got 15 cows. Well, if each one of our 5 people wants to get an even number of cows, we're going to break it up. It's going to look like this. This person gets 3 cows, and this person gets 3 cows, and this person gets 3 cows, and this person and that person. And so you could, if you wanted to, with division, you could sort of say, okay, well, let me take the 15 cows and I'm gonna, maybe give like 1 to this person and 1 to this person and 1 to this person. And you can go kind of 1 at a time and make sure that each person has 1, and then go back and make sure each person has 2, and then make sure each person has 3. But it just takes a little longer, right? So division was this thing that we created to make this super quick. And so we instantly know if you have 15 things and you want to divide it into 5 groups that are equal, you're going to get 3 things in each of those groups. So, what do we got? We have this concept of doing and undoing. 4 times 3 equals 12. 12 divided by 3 equals 4. And we can see the parallels in those numbers, right? Also, 12 divided by 4 equals 3. So we've got that parallel. 5 times 6 equals 30. 30 divided by 6 equals 5. And that's kind of how that whole thing works, right? So when you're thinking about division, you want to think about doing something, undoing something. You're undoing multiplication, which means that if you want to be good at division, you have to be good at, guess what? Your multiplication tables. So we're going to do a bit of multiplication table practice, and then we're going to work with this concept of doing and undoing in division.